Rachel Simmons, the renowned black billionaire in the real estate industry, stepped out of her luxury car right in front of the Plaza Center shopping mall. With her elegant figure dressed in a meticulously tailored black suit and exuding confidence, Rachel was not just a successful businesswoman, but also a symbol of extraordinary perseverance. From her humble beginnings, she had built a billion-dollar real estate empire, a remarkable achievement that few have attained. Today, Rachel visited the Plaza Center to unwind and treat herself to a well-deserved shopping day after years of relentless work. Following Rachel was Anna Johnson, her loyal assistant, a companion who had stood by her side through her toughest times. Anna had arranged for VIP services in advance, ensuring that Rachel would be welcomed with all the lavish amenities the center had to offer. Despite all the careful preparations, from the moment they stepped through the large glass door, Rachel sensed a cold, uneasy atmosphere enveloping them. Inside the shopping mall, dazzling crystal chandeliers illuminated the vast space. The staff in neatly pressed uniforms stood behind the reception desk, but the formal atmosphere felt heavy as their eyes fixed intently on Rachel. A few customers paused to stare, whispering to one another. One young receptionist, wearing a forced smile, quickly greeted them but could not conceal her look of surprise and scrutiny upon seeing Rachel. Rachel approached the reception desk, offering a gentle smile. "Hello, I am Rachel Simmons, and I have a VIP reservation. We would like to use the private dressing room and personal assistant services today." The receptionist looked her over, her cold eyes scanning from head to toe, her expression swiftly transforming into something resembling a half-smile tinged with disdain. She replied in a rigid, unenthusiastic tone, "Oh, I'm sorry, but our VIP dressing room is currently unavailable. You can use the communal dressing room if you wish." Rachel held the receptionist's gaze, maintaining her composure, but unable to hide her disappointment. Before she could respond, Anna, exhibiting her usual professionalism, reminded, "We had confirmed the VIP service in advance. Could you please double-check for us?" The receptionist rolled her eyes slightly and reluctantly turned back to her computer screen. After a moment of searching, she frowned, her tone still indifferent. "I don't see any reservations under the name Simmons on the VIP list for today. Perhaps there has been a mistake somewhere." Immediately, Rachel felt a wave of discomfort wash over her. She had encountered these situations countless times. The scrutinizing looks, the roundabout refusals, and the sudden, fully booked services. These were subtle expressions of discrimination she had grown accustomed to since her youth. But with her current status and achievements, she was no longer the timid young girl faced with injustice. Striving to remain calm, Rachel politely asked, "Could you please call the manager to verify this information for us? I believe there was an official confirmation from your center." The receptionist slightly pouted and pressed the button for the intercom. After a short while, the manager appeared, a middle-aged man with silver hair and an air of superiority. He approached with a polite smile, yet his eyes displayed a hint of hesitation upon seeing Rachel. "Good afternoon, I am Richard Jones, the manager of Plaza Center," he said, his tone courteous yet cold. "Is there an issue we can assist you with?" Rachel patiently explained, "I am Rachel Simmons. We had a VIP reservation made in advance and expected to have an experience worthy of the promised service." The manager scrutinized her for a moment, his gaze revealing slight annoyance. "Oh, unfortunately, we currently do not have any VIP dressing rooms available, and this service may not align with your needs." Anna's face flushed with anger, ready to speak up, but Rachel gently placed her hand on her shoulder to calm her down. She didn't need to hear any more excuses because she knew full well that this was not about being fully booked, but rather a rejection stemming from prejudice against her skin color. Rachel looked straight into the manager's eyes, flashing a cold smile. "Thank you for being clear. I won't bother you any further." Then she turned and walked away, head held high, maintaining her poise and confidence. Rachel's emotions surged as she exited the Plaza Center, a place where she had hoped to experience the luxury service designated for VIP customers. The sunlight outside illuminated what she had just endured, yet it could not erase the feelings of shame and anger within her. Anna exclaimed, "Rachel, this is unacceptable. We have to do something. Call the press. Contact a lawyer." Rachel paused, taking a deep breath to calm herself. She didn't want to get swept up in a wave of anger and impulsive reactions. With a gentle but firm voice, Rachel replied, "Anna, I have fought my entire life to achieve this position. "Do you think this is the first time I've been denied because of my skin color?" Rachel's question made Anna stop and think. Anna's sorrowful gaze reflected deep empathy. She understood that Rachel had faced discrimination and prejudice not just once but many times throughout her journey. Rachel had built her career from scratch while navigating the invisible barriers society erected against people of color. But what surprised Anna was Rachel's unwavering smile. It was not a smile of surrender. It was a smile filled with resolve and strong determination. "If these people can't welcome me as a VIP customer," Rachel said, her eyes igniting with the fire of determination, "then they will have to welcome me in another way. I have plans for the Plaza Center, but not in the way they expect." Rachel's response took Anna aback. She immediately understood that Rachel had something grander in mind, and this seemingly simple shopping trip was about to become a significant turning point. It was not an act of rebellion, but a challenge and reform that Rachel had been nurturing within. In that moment, Rachel envisioned the future she wanted to build, a future where not only she, but all people like her would be welcomed and recognized. "Rachel, what do you intend to do?" Anna asked, her heart filled with concern but also excitement at seeing her friend's determination. Rachel smiled and a new light sparkled in her eyes. "I'm going to buy the Plaza Center," she declared, "and I will turn it into a symbol of inclusivity and equality. Here, no one will be discriminated against because of their skin color or any other reason." As these words poured from Rachel's mouth, Anna felt as if she had just witnessed a new sun rising. The boldness of Rachel's plan was not just personal revenge. It was a powerful desire to change an entire culture. Rachel did not only want to prove that she deserved to be treated like a VIP customer, she also wanted to ensure that no one else would ever experience the humiliation she had just endured. Rachel had witnessed injustices throughout her life. Each time she was denied or saw discrimination, she felt a deeper motivation to fight. Those memories made her more resolute in advocating for her rights and those of others. No longer just a regular customer, Rachel decided to become a leader, a trailblazer paving the way for change. Her journey would not be easy, but now she was ready to face the next challenges. Rachel felt her power, and within her surged a strong belief that change was not only possible, but also inevitable if people came together. Anna looked into Rachel's eyes and realized that her friend possessed not only a strong will, but also a clear vision. She knew Rachel would not rest until the Plaza Center became the symbol she dreamed of. They had embarked on a journey not just to fight for their rights, but also for all others yearning for justice in society. That night, returning to her upscale apartment, Rachel turned on the lights and sat down at her desk, opening her computer to research everything she could about the Plaza Center. She began to delve into the financial details of the shopping center, looking for weaknesses she could exploit. Within just a few hours, she discovered that the Plaza Center, although constructed and operated as a lavish venue for the elite, was experiencing financial difficulties. Public reports indicated declining revenue each quarter and increasing debt. The center had even cut back on some services to stay afloat and avoid a complete shutdown. Rachel chuckled softly, feeling exhilarated. Just as she suspected, the Plaza Center was not an impenetrable fortress. It was simply a shaky building waiting for a savvy investor to take over and revive it. With her strong financial backing and extensive experience in real estate, Rachel knew she could make this a reality. But she didn't want to stop at just buying and restructuring the shopping center. She wanted to transform the Plaza Center into a symbol, a place that welcomed everyone, regardless of status or skin color. As she dug deeper into the ownership structure of the Plaza Center, Rachel discovered that it was owned by a group of conservative investors. They had owned and operated the Plaza Center for decades, upholding the principle of luxury by eliminating any elements they deemed inappropriate for the center's elite image. They had openly opposed reform ideas and had even rejected business proposals simply because they thought these could impact the upscale nature of the Plaza Center. This discovery didn't discourage Rachel. Instead, it ignited her determination further. She knew that approaching this group of investors wouldn't be easy, as they were not only conservative, but also very cautious regarding any deals related to the Plaza Center. But Rachel had no intention of giving up. She had faced even greater obstacles to reach her current position. The next morning, Rachel called Anna to her office and shared her plan. Anna, already aware of Rachel's determination, was nonetheless taken aback when she heard the plan. "You want to buy the Plaza Center?" Anna asked, her eyes wide with surprise. "This will be a long-term and challenging endeavor." Rachel nodded, her eyes sparkling. "Not just to buy it, Anna," she replied. "I want to turn it into a symbol of inclusivity and true class. I want everyone who steps into the Plaza Center to feel welcomed, not judged or excluded simply because they don't fit some standard." Together with Anna, Rachel began to outline a detailed plan to approach the Plaza Center's investors. She decided not to confront them directly at first, but to use her business connections to gradually engage through trusted intermediaries. The first step would be to reach out to smaller shareholders, those who might be wary of the Plaza Center's precarious financial situation and willing to sell their shares at a reasonable price. After securing a portion of power within the center, she would then negotiate directly with the larger investors. In the following days, Rachel and her team meticulously studied the business situation of the Plaza Center. They discovered that the center had been facing fierce competition from other emerging shopping malls in the city, and most young customers were no longer excited about a conservative and exclusive venue like the Plaza Center. This realization further boosted Rachel's confidence in her plan, as she knew that once she owned the Plaza Center, she could introduce creative ideas to attract a more diverse and open-minded clientele. As night fell with the city lights sparkling through the office window, Rachel sat in contemplation, reflecting on this ambitious plan. The Plaza Center was not just a luxurious building. It was also a symbol of long-standing prejudices. She understood that owning and changing this place was not merely a business transaction, but also a personal statement. With fresh ideas and powerful resources, she would transform the Plaza Center from a place of bias into a truly luxurious and fair space for everyone. Rachel's emotions swirled with a mix of hope and anxiety. She understood that the road ahead would not be easy. There would be voices of dissent and skeptical glances from those accustomed to living in discrimination. But the more she thought, the more she felt the strength from her experiences. Each rejection and each discriminatory look she faced became a driving force urging her to take action. In a moment of resolute determination, Rachel murmured, "If they don't want me to enter Plaza Center as a customer, then they will have to accept me as its owner. And when that happens, they will see that luxury does not lie in excluding someone, but in treating everyone fairly and openly." Rachel recalled painful memories of shopping trips with her mother, only to realize that they were treated differently from other customers. That memory served as a stark reminder in her mind, reminding her of why this mattered. She wanted to create a Plaza Center where anyone, regardless of skin color or background, could feel welcomed. She began to envision grand opening parties where people from all walks of life would come together to share joy. Spacious, bright public areas designed to encourage interaction and connection. She could almost hear the lively sounds of laughter, stories being shared, and new relationships being formed. All of that would stand as proof that Plaza Center was no longer just a building, but a part of the community where people felt they belonged. With a renewed sense of energy, Rachel was determined that she would not only transform Plaza Center, but also change how people perceived one another. That night, she wrote down all her ideas in a notebook, unable to stop smiling as she imagined the future. Rachel knew this journey would be challenging, but she was ready. Rachel knew that to complete the acquisition of Plaza Center, she had to negotiate with extreme caution and finesse. With each step, she kept her identity secret, collaborating with trusted intermediaries so that no one would know that a wealthy woman of color was behind this effort. This was not just a financial deal. For Rachel, it was a revolution. The venture began with Rachel reaching out to smaller shareholders, those who were tired of Plaza Center's precarious financial situation. These shareholders, feeling the pressure as the center gradually lost its standing, were eager to sell their stakes for a quick profit. Rachel bought their shares at a price above market value, a tactic they could not refuse. But she knew that to truly change Plaza Center, she had to gain control from the larger shareholders, those who were trying to protect the luxurious and exclusive image they had built over the years. Through intermediaries, Rachel started to approach larger investors and tried to present her plan, but she immediately faced opposition. Many of Plaza Center's major investors held rigid and conservative views, worried that changing the structure and expanding the customer base could strip the center of its inherent luxury. Some even argued that increasing inclusivity would diminish the brand's value, making Plaza Center seem more common in the eyes of affluent customers. In a closed meeting, one of the major investors, Mr. Richard Walton, who had been one of the founding shareholders of Plaza Center, spoke up with a challenging tone. He doubted the effectiveness of the restructuring and believed that broadening the customer base would be detrimental to the brand. "We have built Plaza Center as a place reserved for those with status and class," he said arrogantly. "If we expand the customer base as proposed, we may lose the loyal clientele that has been with us for many years." Rachel's representative, a sharp negotiator, quickly responded. They argued that modern consumer trends had shifted. Their research showed that today's younger customers did not just evaluate a shopping center based on luxury images, but also cared about the core values it represented. Plaza Center needed to adapt and change to survive in a rapidly evolving world, and inclusivity was the factor that would set the center apart and ensure its longevity. Rachel had thoroughly prepared for these meetings, armed with data and examples from shopping centers around the world that had transformed into inclusive models and thrived. She cited a shopping center in San Francisco, a place that had once symbolized opulence, but had become a destination for everyone, from creative young people to families. After the overhaul, that center not only increased its customer traffic, but also significantly boosted revenue from the diverse services and products it offered. "Plaza Center can still maintain its luxury," Rachel's representative stated, "but it does not need to exclude anyone to do so. On the contrary, inclusivity will add value, turning the center into a true symbol of genuine class, a place where anyone can feel welcomed and respected." The meeting grew tense as some investors leaned toward Rachel's side, but the more conservative members remained steadfast in their opposition. Walton spoke again, his tone defiant. "We have managed Plaza Center for years without such changes. We know what is right for our clientele. No one wants to see a shopping center filled with those who do not fit the image of Plaza Center." But Rachel's representative, calm and professional, replied, "If we do not change, Plaza Center will continue to lose customers and face financial difficulties. This is not a far-fetched prediction. It is a reality that has occurred in many places. Other conservative centers have closed down or suffered severe profit declines because they failed to respond to changing customer demands." Rachel understood that to overcome these barriers, she needed to prove that her vision was not just a vague idea but had solid business value. She planned a private meeting with the most influential investors, those whose voices held the most weight. She decided to participate directly and reveal her identity. She knew this could create a shock and provoke a strong reaction, but it was the only way to persuade them of the need for change. On the day of the meeting, Rachel walked into the conference room with unwavering confidence. The investors were stunned to realize that the woman before them was someone they had heard about for a long time, but never imagined would be interested in Plaza Center. In that moment of surprise, some felt apprehensive, but Rachel did not give them a chance to ask questions. "I understand that changing Plaza Center is a significant challenge," Rachel began, her gaze resolute. "But we have no choice if we want the center to survive and thrive. I believe that inclusivity and expanding the customer base will not only rescue Plaza Center's financial situation, but also bring lasting value. Today's customers seek places that are not only luxurious, but also have community value and respect for everyone." Some investors seemed hesitant, but Rachel continued, "I am willing to offer a fair price, ensuring that everyone here will receive substantial returns from this investment. But if we do not change, Plaza Center's fate will remain uncertain. This is not just a takeover, it is an opportunity for Plaza Center to become a symbol of a new generation." After the meeting, Rachel felt a tension enveloping the room, but she knew she had made an impression. Some investors seemed to grasp this feasibility and vision she presented. With her determination and solid reasoning, Rachel had managed to create a small shift in their mindset. Now, all she had to do was wait for the final feedback. After weeks of dramatic discussions and negotiations, each of the major investors gradually accepted Rachel's proposal. She had proven that Plaza Center could be restructured to become sustainable and profitable, and that her vision was not just an ideal, but the future of this shopping center. As the deal was finalized, Rachel reflected on the entire process with satisfaction. This was not just her victory, it was a triumph of the ideals she pursued. And now she knew she was one step closer to her goal of transforming Plaza Center into a symbol of inclusivity and innovation in the retail industry. Rachel walked into Plaza Center that morning with a completely different feeling than before. No longer a coldly treated stranger, she returned as the new owner. This time, she knew she held power not just within the bricks of Plaza Center, but also in her hands, bringing imminent change. She wore a perfectly tailored black suit, complemented by black high heels, and each step Rachel took on the marble floor resonated with strength and authority. All eyes turned to her. Employees whispered among themselves, with some recognizing her as the guest who had once been treated dismissively because of her skin color. A mixture of confusion and astonishment was evident on their faces, but Rachel merely smiled gently, continuing her confident stride. It was time for everyone there to know that this center would no longer be the exclusive place it once was. Rachel walked straight to the reception desk, where she had previously been coldly dismissed. The receptionist, the young woman who had looked at her with disdain, now stood frozen, unable to hide her embarrassment. Rachel paused in front of her, displaying no hostility, but her sharp eyes spoke volumes. "Good morning," Rachel said, her tone calm yet firm. "Today, I am not here as a customer." Before the girl could respond, the center's manager, Mr. Richard Jones, was informed and quickly appeared. Richard, who had previously rejected Rachel with disdain, approached with a reluctant yet tense smile. He recognized her immediately, and a flicker of concern crossed his face as he saw her in this entirely different role. She was no longer a customer to be ignored, but the one holding the power to decide his fate. "Hello, Ms. Simmons. Hello, boss," David stammered, trying to maintain his composure. I sincerely apologize for the incident last time. There may have been a misunderstanding." Rachel stood silently, looking at him with piercing eyes, her face revealing no emotion. "Misunderstanding?" she asked, her voice calm but resolute. "Discrimination and prejudice are never misunderstandings, Mr. Jones. That was your choice, a choice you made the moment you laid eyes on me." Richard flinched slightly, trying to justify himself. I was just adhering to the center's standards, Ms. Simmons. Plaza Center has always aimed to maintain a luxurious and upscale image. I just wanted to ensure everything aligned with the image we've built." Rachel stared at him, neither nodding nor showing acceptance. After a moment, she spoke with firmness. "True luxury does not lie in excluding others, Mr. Jones, but in how we treat everyone with respect. I'm not here to accept an apology from you. I'm here to demand a change." Richard stood silent, unsure of what to say. He never expected that the woman he had once looked down on could now stand in such a position of power and demand he change his behavior. Rachel continued, "I won't ask you to resign, but I will hold you to one condition. You must change your mindset, alter your service approach, and learn to respect everyone, regardless of who they are or where they come from. If you cannot do that, then we will have to part ways." Richard nodded repeatedly, too afraid to protest. He mumbled his agreement, but his eyes betrayed his anxiety. For him, Rachel was not just an owner. She was the one who now controlled his future at Plaza Center. She knew her words had left a strong impression, but she wouldn't stop there. Rachel turned to face all the staff in the lobby, who had been silently observing the exchange. She stepped forward and raised her voice so that everyone could hear. "I stand here today not to seek revenge or criticize anyone. I want Plaza Center to become a place where anyone is welcomed, not because they meet some standard, but because we value every person who comes here with respect and their true worth." The employees stood still, none daring to speak, but a few began to nod in agreement. They could sense that Rachel was not just an ordinary owner, but someone ready to transform this place into a source of pride. Rachel's feelings were not only driven by a desire to change Plaza Center, but also by the painful memories she had endured. Each time she thought about the discrimination she had faced, the cold stares, and the unfriendly remarks from staff, her heart felt heavy. But today, she wouldn't allow those emotions to overwhelm her. Instead, she decided to channel that pain into motivation for change. A sense of nervousness crept into her heart as she looked into the eyes of each employee. She noticed the tension, anxiety, and even skepticism in their gazes. Perhaps they were used to strict standards and felt uneasy about the change. But Rachel couldn't let that hold her back. She wanted them to see that change was not only necessary, but also a good thing, bringing benefits for everyone. We can all learn from the mistakes of the past, Rachel continued, her voice now softer, yet still full of determination. I don't want any of you to go through what I've been through. I am here to build a positive work environment together, where every employee has a voice and feels valued. A few employees began exchanging glances, sensing the sincerity in Rachel's words. The once cold stares began to warm. Fear and doubt gradually gave way to hope. They started to envision a new plaza center, where no one would be discriminated against, and everyone could shine with their unique abilities. Rachel felt a wave of new energy spreading through the room. She continued, I want to encourage all of you to participate in this restructuring process. We need each person's contribution to create a better working environment. This is not just my responsibility, it is ours together. A young employee, seemingly hesitant, bravely spoke up. But what if we face opposition? This question made the atmosphere in the lobby heavier. Rachel did not hesitate. She nodded. There will be challenges, but I believe that if we unite and support each other, nothing is insurmountable. Rachel knew that changing a deeply rooted culture wouldn't be easy, but she also felt her determination growing stronger. She had seen the positive change in the employees' eyes, and that made her believe they could build a new plaza center together. She was ready to lead not only as an owner, but also with compassion and sincerity. Rachel's emotions surged as she concluded her speech with a powerful call to action. We have the opportunity to be part of a bigger story. Let's work together to make Plaza Center a symbol of inclusivity and respect. We can do this. Together, we will create a place where everyone feels welcomed and valued. Applause erupted, a clear sign that everyone was ready to embark on this journey with Rachel. Their emotions were beginning to shift, and the atmosphere in the lobby became filled with hope. Rachel understood that this was just the beginning, but she also knew that with determination and teamwork, Plaza Center would soon become the place everyone dreamed of. Rachel stepped out of her office, once in the director's room of Plaza Center, and felt the shift in the atmosphere. After months of fighting for ownership, she was now not just a business owner, but a pioneer of a revolution. She understood that to make the Plaza Center a symbol of inclusivity and fairness, comprehensive reform was necessary from the ground up. Rachel began her restructuring journey by identifying key policies she wanted to change. She decided to establish a diverse council to advise on policy development, including employees from various backgrounds. The goal was to listen to their opinions and experiences to ensure that every policy implemented reflected diversity and respect for all. She initiated retraining sessions for all employees, from management to service staff. Rachel knew that change couldn't come simply from new policies. It needed to start in the minds and hearts of each individual. The training sessions were not just about customer service, but also included lessons on respect, compassion, and the value of diversity. Rachel invited speakers who were social activists and psychology experts to share their insights, helping employees understand the pain and barriers others face. Each story and shared experience awakened empathy within them, fostering a friendlier work environment. In addition to training, Rachel decided to revamp the hiring policies. She recognized that to create a truly diverse team, changes were needed in the recruitment process. She required all managers to undergo training on implicit bias, helping them identify and eliminate unfair prejudices in candidate selection. Rachel also mandated that all new management positions must include at least one candidate from AEN, underprivileged background. Her goal was to create a diverse leadership team incapable of reflecting the richness of the community Plaza Center serves. Rachel also invited John, a talented young man who had previously faced discrimination, to join her new management team. She assigned him a crucial role in developing training programs for struggling employees to help them overcome life's obstacles. John was not just an employee, he symbolized the strength of those who had been marginalized. Under Rachel's guidance, John began building support programs for employees, ranging from soft skills training to career counseling, aimed at providing others with opportunities for personal growth. One key policy Rachel implemented was the development of mentoring programs for employees. This program not only helped new employees integrate into the workplace, but also provided opportunities for them to learn from experienced individuals. Rachel encouraged all employees to participate in this program and committed to ensuring that managers would dedicate time each month to meet, support, and mentor the employees they guided. This initiative not only created a positive learning environment, but also strengthened relationships between staff and management. Rachel also decided to collaborate with local organizations to develop training programs for disadvantaged individuals. She did not want Plaza Center to merely be a shopping mall. She envisioned it as a community where people could find opportunities. These programs included vocational training, soft skills classes, and personal finance workshops. Rachel invited experts in these fields to share their knowledge and experiences. These programs not only fostered a positive work environment, but also helped build stronger connections with customers and the community. Gradually, the change became evident. Employees who had previously been indifferent now became friendly and open. They began to see one another not just through the lens of skin color, but through abilities and personal qualities. Plaza Center transformed from a place of discrimination and stigma into a symbol of compassion and inclusivity. Rachel understood that creating a positive work environment not only helped Plaza Center thrive, but also brought hope to those who had suffered from discrimination. Rachel's journey was not just a commercial reform, but also an effort to change the minds and hearts of everyone at Plaza Center. She was not only building a business, but also creating a community where everyone felt respected and had the opportunity to grow. Rachel knew that with each small change, she was contributing to a larger movement, one that would make Plaza Center a beacon of hope and inclusivity. As Rachel's reform efforts began to flourish, she realized that superficial changes were not enough to heal the deep wounds entrenched in Plaza Center's history. After consulting with both new and longtime employees, Rachel started researching the mall's past. Through documents, old press articles, and interviews with former staff, she uncovered heartbreaking stories of discrimination and bias that had existed since the center's inception. Rachel felt a profound sadness upon discovering that Plaza Center had once implemented openly exclusionary policies that limited access for certain groups of customers and employees. These barriers not only restricted customers' rights, but also deprived many talented employees of career growth opportunities, trapping them in a cycle of discrimination. Understanding that failing to confront the past would only exacerbate the situation, Rachel decided that one necessary next step was to hold a public conference to address Plaza Center's history of discrimination. She began planning the event with meticulous care. Rachel invited social activists, community leaders, and social justice experts to participate. The goal of the conference was not only to reflect on the past, but also to create an open space for honest dialogue about how Plaza Center could become a model for change in the service industry. Rachel understood that community involvement was crucial, and she wanted to give a voice to those who had been unheard in the past. During the preparation process, Rachel encountered considerable challenges. Some members of the old management disagreed with the idea, arguing that confronting the past would only bring shame to Plaza Center. However, Rachel was resolute that real change could only happen when people collectively acknowledged the mistakes of the past. She argued that transparency would not only help Plaza Center rebuild trust with customers and employees, but also contribute to setting a new standard for other shopping centers. On the day of the conference, Plaza Center was filled with familiar faces and newcomers alike. In an atmosphere charged with anticipation, Rachel took the stage, her heart racing. She shared not only her story, but also her findings about Plaza Center's history of discrimination. She urged everyone to confront this reality together and emphasized that revisiting the past was necessary for moving forward. Rachel invited influential figures to speak. They shared their experiences of discrimination and highlighted the need for change in how the service industry operated. Real-life stories from both former Plaza Center employees and customers who had been denied service deepened Rachel's message about the necessity of confronting the past. She invited several witnesses who had been victims of discrimination in previous years to speak. An elderly woman, exuding resilience yet reflecting pain in her eyes, recounted her experience visiting Plaza Center in 1995. She remembered the feeling of being denied service simply because of her skin color and the shame and hurt that accompanied it. Her story silenced many in the audience, as no one could deny that painful truth. Moments like these added weight to the discussion and helped everyone better understand the urgency for change. The conference became a significant turning point, not only for Plaza Center, but for the entire community. The discussions opened new opportunities for listening and learning from one another. Rachel saw that everyone was willing to engage in dialogue about fairness and equality, demonstrating a collective determination to build a better future. The conference not only created a space for sharing and dialogue, but also became a highlight of the renewal Rachel had brought. By the end of the conference, Rachel announced that Plaza Center would continue to host similar events, establishing a platform for regular discussions on social issues and equity. She hoped that by doing so, Plaza Center would not only be a shopping center, but also a community where people could come to learn from and support one another. Rachel saw hope in the eyes of the attendees. They were not only witnessing a changing shopping center, but also sensing a greater mission that Plaza Center was striving for, not just to serve customers, but to become a beacon of inclusivity and fairness in the community. This was a sign that Rachel was getting closer to her dream of transforming Plaza Center into a place that not only met shopping needs, but also embodied solidarity and respect for all individuals. Rachel decided that the conference would not just be a one-time event, but would become part of Plaza Center's operational culture. She planned for an ongoing educational program, inviting experts from various fields to speak and share ideas with employees in the community. Through this, both staff and customers would have the opportunity to gain important knowledge about diversity, equity, and how to create a friendly environment for everyone. Rachel understood that real change was not solely in the hands of one individual, but was a collective responsibility of the entire community. The conference sparked a strong wave of support from community organizations and individuals who were ready to collaborate in building a better Plaza Center. Because of these efforts, Rachel believed that Plaza Center would not only be a mere shopping center, but also a symbol of positive change, where each individual would be respected and have the opportunity to thrive. Rachel realized that her journey was not just about changing Plaza Center, but also about inspiring others, encouraging them to stand up for their rights and those of others. She hoped that her story would motivate those facing stigma and discrimination, showing them that they could turn their pain into strength and find opportunities in challenges. Ultimately, Rachel was not just transforming a shopping center, but igniting a movement for equity and inclusivity within the community. The conference sparked a powerful wave of inspiration, igniting a spirit of unity and determination within the community. Rachel did not want to stop at Plaza Center. She intended to expand the model of inclusivity across the country. She wanted to make Plaza Center a role model for other shopping centers, where everyone, regardless of skin color or background, felt welcome and had growth opportunities. This was not just a business goal, it was a social mission. Rachel and John sat down together to discuss this expansion plan. They began identifying struggling shopping centers where the culture of discrimination could be changed. They compiled a list of necessary locations, including centers with rich historical traditions that lack diversity in policies and management structures. We need to focus on not just changing the image, but also reforming the culture within these centers, Rachel said, her voice filled with determination. Every place we reach must become a symbol of equality and opportunity. John agreed, recognizing that their efforts were not merely about reform, but also about building a sustainable business model where everyone could see their value and potential respected. Let's think about organizing educational workshops for the staff and management of these centers so they can better understand the importance of diversity and inclusivity in customer service, John suggested. Rachel immediately found this idea appealing. They decided to hold workshops that focus not only on improving services, but also on educating about the histories of discrimination the retail industry had faced. This would help staff gain a clearer understanding of the significance of inclusivity and equity, as well as foster a more positive work environment. They began reaching out to shopping centers in need of reform and invited community leaders, social activists, and experts in diversity and inclusion to participate. The first workshops were held at Plaza Center, where Rachel could directly share her experiences and listen to the stories of others. During one workshop, Rachel was impressed by the enthusiastic participation of employees from diverse backgrounds. They shared their work challenges, experiences of discrimination, and their desire to work in a fair environment. Rachel encouraged them to voice their thoughts, listening with empathy and deep concern. "We're not just building a shopping center, we're creating a community," Rachel told the attendees. "A community where everyone can feel proud of themselves and their work." It starts with each one of us, from every employee to every leader. In subsequent workshops, Rachel invited speakers experienced in promoting diversity and inclusion. They shared how other organizations had successfully transformed workplace cultures and improved customer service. These success stories inspired many employees, instilling a belief that real change was possible. Rachel and John also launched a new training program for Plaza Center staff, focusing on developing soft skills, communication, and building relationships with customers from various backgrounds. They recruited experts to lead the program, ensuring that every employee was equipped with the necessary knowledge to serve customers effectively. We must become leaders in this industry, people that customers can trust, Rachel emphasized in a meeting with the management team. We're not just serving, we also need to make customers feel respected and valued. Rachel and John's efforts began to pay off as customer feedback grew more positive. Customers not only noticed the change in staff attitudes, but also felt the warm welcome from Plaza Center. The staff training had a positive impact, with many expressing pride in working in an inclusive and fair environment. Customer satisfaction surveys showed high approval rates, with many commenting that Plaza Center had become an ideal destination, not just for shopping, but also for experiencing cultural and social exchanges. News of the reforms at Plaza Center quickly spread, attracting the attention of media outlets. Reporters from major newspapers and television channels sought to delve deeper into the story of Rachel and John. They conducted numerous interviews to explore the challenges Rachel faced before implementing these significant changes. The articles and interview programs not only highlighted Rachel's journey of overcoming adversity, but also conveyed the message of the necessity of equality and fairness in society. The community began to engage in this conversation, with many locals coming to Plaza Center to experience the changes that Rachel and John had brought about. They expressed strong support and gratitude for the efforts of the team there. Community events were held regularly, drawing large crowds. Small concerts, art exhibitions, and charitable programs took place right at Plaza Center, creating a friendly and inviting atmosphere. People felt connected and engaged in a larger community, where they were not just customers, but part of a greater mission. Rachel and John received support not only from customers, but also attracted the attention of local leaders and nonprofit organizations. They were invited to participate in various workshops and forums to share their experiences and perspectives on the need for reform in the service industry. These discussions attracted many experts in human resources, community development, and business, creating a platform for profound dialogues about how to build fairer and more inclusive organizations. The strong response from the community and the press created a positive wave, prompting many other businesses in the area to reevaluate their operations. Several shopping centers and stores began adopting policies similar to those at Plaza Center, from staff training to creating more welcoming and friendly spaces. This not only fostered healthy competition, but also sparked a revolution in thinking within the service industry. The media attention not only brought recognition to Plaza Center, but also opened up a significant opportunity to convey messages of change and equality to a broad audience. Many reporters wrote in-depth analytical articles about the impact of the new policies at Plaza Center and the importance of creating a fair and welcoming work environment. Interviews with employees also provided a positive perspective on the ongoing changes. They expressed gratitude to Rachel and John for creating a space where they felt valued and appreciated. Not stopping there, Rachel and John decided to develop a training program that could be applied to other businesses. They believed that sharing the experiences and successful model of Plaza Center could assist those struggling to create a positive work environment. They organized workshops to guide other business owners on how to shift mindsets and improve their workplaces. Community support created a solid foundation for these workshops, with many businesses signing up to learn more about the methods and strategies employed by Plaza Center. As more businesses adopted inclusive and fair policies, Rachel realized the importance of maintaining a close connection with the community. She established a network of local businesses, encouraging them to share experiences and collaborate on developing similar policies. Rachel organized regular meetings where businesses could meet, exchange ideas, and learn from each other. This not only fostered a strong community, but also raised awareness about the importance of creating a positive and equitable work environment. Success stories began to emerge from everywhere, from individuals who had been supported by Plaza Center to other businesses that adopted similar models. They created a benchmark for those seeking change, demonstrating that every effort could yield positive results. The sense of community became increasingly strong, with many individuals and businesses coming together to participate in social projects aimed at benefiting those less fortunate. The media's interest also helped spread the message of change and encourage businesses to engage in creating a fairer community. Rachel and John not only transformed Plaza Center, but also sparked a larger movement where everyone had the opportunity to participate and contribute to the common good. Their efforts not only helped Plaza Center become a symbol of change, but also inspired many others to stand up, confront discrimination, and make a difference in their own lives. Gradually, Plaza Center became a model for other shopping centers. Rachel and John decided to expand their plan to other cities, where they could create similar changes. They held meetings with investors, conveying their vision of a network of sustainable and inclusive shopping centers. "We are not just building a chain of shopping centers, we are building a movement," Rachel emphasized in a meeting with investors. "A movement that we all can be part of, where everyone has an equal opportunity to succeed." Rachel felt proud to see her idea come to life. Every step she took carried the desire not only to build a business empire, but also to create a lasting legacy, a legacy that future generations would remember, a legacy where people could look and see that change is possible and inclusivity can truly make a difference. She often recalled the early days when she was just a young girl starting from scratch, and now with the strength of the community and her determination, Rachel had created a promising future for herself and others. She knew that the journey was still long, but with each shopping center they successfully transformed, Rachel's legacy would become increasingly solid and profound. Rachel stood in front of the new shopping center on Miami's coastline, where she had poured her heart and sweat, feeling a swell of pride. The building rose with modern beauty, its glass windows sparkling in the sunlight, serving not just as a shopping center, but as a symbol of change and equality. Here, people from different walks of life, regardless of skin color or social status, were welcomed with open arms. The center had become a place where every individual could find opportunity, respect, and acceptance. Rachel decided to host a grand ceremony to celebrate this success, not only to commemorate what had been achieved, but also to affirm her commitment to opening doors for everyone. She invited community activists, business leaders, and friends from her journey to attend. The event not only drew media attention, but also sparked a strong wave of support from the community. The scene before the ceremony was bustling and filled with anticipation. The new Plaza Center was adorned with grand banners, carrying messages of equality and opportunity, interwoven with vibrant images of employees and customers from diverse backgrounds, symbolizing inclusivity and diversity. Uplifting music echoed throughout the space, creating an exhilarating atmosphere. The area in front of the shopping center was decorated with fresh flowers and balloons, all in bright colors, reflecting hope and optimism. A growing crowd gathered, consisting of locals, advocates for equal rights, and esteemed guests from afar. They stood in eager anticipation, waiting for the moment when Rachel would share her thoughts and vision. Everyone felt the special significance of this ceremony. It was not merely a grand opening, but a symbolic celebration of the fight against discrimination and prejudice. As the afternoon sun began to set, twinkling lights illuminated the area, creating a magical and vibrant space. Reporters stood ready with cameras and recorders, preparing to capture this historic moment. Rachel could feel the attention and expectation from the crowd. She even heard whispers and stories about the difficult journeys they had taken to get here. Rachel stood backstage, adjusting her white blazer, a meaningful choice symbolizing purity and a new beginning. She took a deep breath, feeling the excitement welling up inside her. This journey was not only hers, but also that of all those who had walked alongside her, individuals who had been hurt by discrimination yet continued to fight for justice. When the music faded and the spotlight turned to her, Rachel stepped onto the stage, where bright lights illuminated her face. She looked out at the eager crowd, and at that moment, all her feelings of nervousness, pride, and gratitude surged within her. We are here today not just to celebrate a new shopping center, but to affirm that equality and opportunity are rights for everyone, Rachel said with a voice full of strength and passion. The excitement of the crowd intensified as they heard her words. Rachel felt the power of her message, and she knew this was the moment to inspire those seeking justice. They were all looking toward a bright future where there would be no room for discrimination or prejudice. In the brilliant lights and the thunderous applause, Rachel felt that she was not just representing herself, but all those who had believed in and supported her throughout this journey. She shared her journey, from the challenging days of starting to the discrimination she faced at Plaza Center. Rachel emphasized that these obstacles not only made her stronger, but also inspired her to stand up against injustice. Each of us can change our own lives and the lives of others, and today we are doing just that, she said, energizing this atmosphere with hope and vitality. The ceremony was not just a celebration. Rachel organized numerous meaningful activities, from sharing inspiring stories to discussions on change in the service industry. She invited influential figures in the community to share their perspectives on the necessity of diversity and inclusivity in all fields, from business to education. One of the highlights of the event was the appearance of John, whom Rachel had helped during the Plaza Center's revitalization. John took the stage and, with a confident voice, shared his journey from a struggling young man to holding an important role at the center. "I once thought I would never have a chance," John said, his eyes shining. "But thanks to Rachel and what we're building here, I've found my voice." As the ceremony drew to a close, Rachel announced the publication of her book. "This book will not only be my story, but also the story of all of us. I want it to be a source of inspiration for those who have faced discrimination, so they know they are not alone and can create change," Rachel said. Her words not only provided a conclusion to the event, but also opened a new chapter in her life and career. The book, titled Connecting Hearts, A Journey Toward Equality, promises to be a profound work in which Rachel shares her personal experiences, the challenges she has faced, and how those difficulties have shaped her. Each chapter in the book is not just a simple narrative, but a powerful message encouraging readers to stand up, seek justice, and be a voice for those who cannot speak for themselves. Rachel shared that she has met many people in the community who have inspired her and emphasized the importance of listening to others' stories. "I believe that when we share our stories, we not only help ourselves heal, but also create a safe space for others to open up," she said. In the book, Rachel will outline the deep conversations she has had with people from various backgrounds, from employees at Plaza Center to collaborators and social activists. She will also present the valuable lessons she has learned throughout this journey. Rachel understands that stories not only need to be heard, but also shared to foster change. "I hope this book will become a tool, a means to spark interest and action," she added. "I want everyone to realize that change can start from each individual, beginning with the smallest actions." With a clear vision in her mind, Rachel believes the book will serve as a bridge connecting hearts, igniting faith and hope for a brighter future. As she left the ceremony, she felt energized, believing that her journey had just begun and that the best stories within her book would continue to resonate, touching the hearts of many more in the community. As the celebration wrapped up, the smiles, handshakes, and congratulatory words from the guests warmed Rachel's heart. She understood that her journey was not ending here, but would continue to spread outward, impacting many more lives. With a clear vision in mind, Rachel and John began to map out plans for their next steps. "Let's continue to expand this model to more places," Rachel told John in a meeting after the event. "We won't just change Plaza Center. We'll turn many more shopping centers into symbols of equality and opportunity." She envisioned a network of shopping centers across the country where everyone would be welcomed and feel a sense of belonging. As they discussed how to implement this vision, Rachel emphasized the importance of not only focusing on profit, but also building a cultural foundation where diversity is valued and encouraged. "We will reach out to struggling centers, not just to help them improve their financial situation, but also to change how they operate," she said. They decided to organize workshops and training programs, providing knowledge and skills to employees and helping them recognize the value of creating an inclusive workplace. Rachel knew that this journey would not be easy. There would be barriers and challenges, but she had learned that every difficulty was an opportunity to grow and learn. With relentless determination, she and John prepared for the challenges ahead, committed to turning their vision into reality. And deep down in her heart, Rachel understood that the fight for justice and equality would continue. She would not stop here, but would remain a pioneer, leading the community toward a brighter future where every individual had the opportunity to grow and achieve their dreams. Together, Rachel and John were not just working to create a shopping center. They were heroes in the fight for justice, creating a lasting legacy for future generations. Rachel and John affirmed that great change begins with small efforts. They had built a future where equality and opportunity became a reality for everyone. Do you think we can make a difference through small daily actions? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel to help spread the powerful message of justice. See you next time.